The Photograph. I got to hand it to you. You got a great attitude. You keep that gleam in your eye much better than I when the chips are down. It always shows on your face. That look just gives it away. Guess that's the beauty of you, your love shining through on the darkest day. You don't ever stop smiling. You don't ever look like anything's gone wrong. You're there on my wall to remind me of all the love we had. I just look at you there. Oh, and sometimes I swear I hear you say everything is okay, it'll be alright. Wish I had your point of view, see things the way that you do. 'Cause it ain't all black and white, just living my life and missing you. You don't ever stop smiling. You don't ever look like anything's gone wrong. You're there on my wall to remind me of all the love we had. No, you don't ever stop smiling. You don't ever look like anything's gone wrong. You're there on my wall to remind me of all the love we had. You know, that's the thing I do better than anybody is screw up. I can. That's the only thing I'm absolutely expert at, is messing up. I don't have the time or crayons to explain it to you. That's what that T-shirt says. Looks like it's got a spot in it. I didn't notice that. Probably oil or grease from under a tractor or something. Well, good morning. It is it's morning here. It is, Thursday, August 31st, and the big news of the day is, of course, we're going to have our live show this evening at 7 o'clock with the full band, a couple of guests, and one secret weapon. And before I tell you about the secret weapon a little bit more, Cash's music lesson yesterday left me wanting a little bit more. He didn't get very far on learning the song by himself. So I gave in and helped him with it and moved him on through the song so that he can at least learn it. But doggone it, I'm really wanting him to learn on his own. He is totally dependent. He really is absolutely 100% dependent. So his new assignment was just find any song. I don't care if it's Mary Had a Little Lamb, just any song. And I want you to learn it and find the chords on the guitar. You know, you need to be able to sing it in order to find those words, you know. Of course, I'm good at talking about it. I can't hit the right chords myself. I don't play guitar very much is my excuse, but anyway. So that's his lesson for next week. He probably is going to be here this evening, and most likely he's expecting to sing a song. I will probably put him on and let him sing one. So you'll be able to see Cash this evening too, I'm sure. the secret weapon that I've been telling you about, she showed up yesterday. And my wife just happened to be here and got to hear, well, actually, she got to hear a recorded song that she has. And I'll tell you about that this evening. I'm not going to tell you about it now and spoil the surprise. But my wife heard the recorded song and just was thrown to the floor. And my wife is not easily impressed in music. In fact, she don't really like music that much. But when she heard this gal sing, she was impressed. So there you go. You're in for a surprise tonight. I'm seriously telling you. Okay, mandolin progress. Woohoo! I made some. That's the first time I picked it up, so I'm pretty brave. I glued it on yesterday, and I think I've got the angle set about where I want it, and I'll probably get the fretboard glued on it yet today, and then hopefully tomorrow get this thing set up. But it's making progress. I think it's fine. And we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I worked on the sickle bar yesterday, and here's a little bit of a clip to show you what we're even talking about, because some of you, I'm sure, have no clue. Well, here's what I did yesterday. You can see the sickle bar there is what they call that big apparatus. And this is the blade. And you see that little gap right there? That's not supposed to be there. That blade broke in half. And so I have to either find a way to repair that or get a whole new blade bar or something. Not only that, but this end right here is pretty much wore out. I don't know if it'll turn up there where I can show you, but it's a little bit oblong and not in the best shape in the world. So that has to be filled in with something. I had it filled in with Delrin plastic or something like that. Anyway, a lot of work there to fix that doggone thing. Yeah, I got nothing else to do. I'm retired. I can't say that without laughing. Let's see. So I doubt I'll get to any of those kinds of projects today because the thing I'm going to do as soon as we're done talking here this morning is I'm going to rearrange this studio in some fashion form to be able to get the mic near the singers and the camera further away. I mean, there's good and bad to that. You know, the camera further away, you don't maybe see it as well, but on the other hand, we can fit more people in and it'll be a little less strenuous than it was last time. But we'll see how all that goes. It's just one of them deals that I have no idea how I'm going to do that yet. This is sort of like pulling a rabbit out of the hat type thing. If you could see the mess I'm in here, you would understand. And let's see, that's really about everything I was going to cover today. It's going to be a short one. I just, again, remind you that the live show will be at 7 o'clock p.m. this evening. And that's my time, of course, so that's Central Standard Time if you're in another part of the world. And we would love to have you there. I think you're going to be entertained. I mean, the band will do its regular thing. The first set that we play will just be your traditional standard bluegrass country and maybe even a gospel tune or so thrown in on that first half. And then the intermission where we will feature probably Cash and The Secret Weapon. And then we will come back and sing another set, which will be primarily gospel, but not all gospel. And anyway, so that's kind of the name of that tune. So let's go look at the comments and things today and see what we've got. Looks like Michael Thompson was the first to ring in before we went live, and he's got like 3 comments there in the morning. He says, good morning, and then he's got a question here. Thomas Armstrong says, good morning, Jerry. When I think pavilion, I think of charcoal grills like the state parks have. What do you think? Well, there's a real good possibility of that. Now that you say that, Thomas, and that would be kind of a compliment to the rock structure that I'm going to build to hold the water wheel. So we could have that on the other end of the pavilion or somewhere out there in the open, and maybe make a built-in barbecue grill. That's not a bad idea, but that won't be in phase one or in the phase that I'm doing the rest of that, because it's got enough work as it is. But that's a thought for down the road for sure. Gary Smythe from the UK, and I'm saying Smythe as I guess that's it, but it could be Smith. I mean, everybody pronounces that last name differently, at least here in the US they do. Good afternoon, Jerry from the UK. My question is, will we ever get chance to see or meet your wife, Sue? You mention her all the time, but I have been watching on this channel and never seen her. She's been in a clip or two, but only short little clips. If you watch the window video where my buddy, don't ask me names. I hate it when I have to say a name. It's just... Alex. They just don't come to me. I don't know why that is. It's been that way my whole life. That's not an old age thing, in case you think it's just old age. It's not. It's been that way since I was a kid. Anyway, so Alex was helping me on that window replacement, and Sue was in and out of the pictures, and so was Alex's wife. So you could see her there. She does not like to be on camera. And she definitely doesn't want to talk on camera. So there you go. James Kopp, working on a John Prine song for an open mic tonight, also singing traditional Irish. Do you mix genre too? Oh, not at all. Just like every other song. Like I'll do the song called The Runaway. I mean, that's an old rock and roll song. And, we have old time country and bluegrass. Now, keep in mind, 99% of it is bluegrass, old country, or gospel. That's 99% of it. But we mix up all kinds of stuff. And, Bill Pilliard, he did a Jimmy Buffett song on the last one, I think. Well, anyway, we do all kinds of stuff. So we do a lot of different things, but it's mostly those three things that I mentioned. I mean, after all, there's only two kinds of music, country and Western. That's a line from some movie somewhere. I don't remember what it was. What guitar was that? Well, it was a 6-string acoustic guitar. Yeah, this was the very first guitar I built. I've told the story so many times, I feel like I'm just repeating myself. This is a really good recording guitar. Lots of people like to use it when we record it in the studio. I built this one in 1986. Anymore, especially with these hands. But anyway, it is Padauk back and sides. I built this in 1 week, and I'm talking 7 days. I built it in 1 week, completely start to finish, from scratch, no kit parts. This is the one that I had, it was my first rodeo on guitars. It was the first guitar I built. I had orders to build 2 12-strings, so I thought, man, I got to build this regular guitar before I build a 12-string. So I had it hanging up with a metal hook through one of these top eye holes here, and it was just hanging like on a nail type deal in my other shop. This was in St. Louis County. And I'm using oil varnish, so I'm dipping the brush, and I turn around to dip the brush, and I hear it go kabam, and I knew what it was. I didn't have to turn around to look, but I whipped around. I got crazy fast reflexes, and I whipped around, and it was on its way back up from the hitting the ground, and on its way back up like that, and I just grabbed it by the neck, and it broke it here, it broke it there. It sort of I didn't know it at the time, but it loosened a bunch of braces in this area, and it caused that top to cave in a lot. I just recently, last year, in fact, I think last June, a year ago last June, I repaired this. There was a video out there of me repairing this, and it had stayed together all that time. Now, the intonation was a bit off because of all that, and it's, quite honestly, it's still a bit off because it was the first guitar I built. It's not the perfect intonation, but it's pretty good. It's not bad. Anyway, it's a good guitar. If it just had somebody that could play it, it'd be a great guitar. Let's see. Moving on down. Are there any other questions? Looks like there's one last question, maybe two. Matt Tommen. That line was from the Blues Brothers. Yeah, I almost said that, in fact, but I didn't know which movie for sure. But yeah, that was the one that came to mind. Yeah, and somebody else said, isn't that about country and western from the Blues Brothers? Yeah, somebody else said that too. So, yeah, well, it probably was. But I'm sure I could have originated that line myself. That's pretty much been my whole life, honestly. I grew up on the old-time country, and my mom and dad listened to old-time country. And, of course, they listened to bluegrass some because my Uncle Don, who happened to be real good friends with my dad, Don was married to my dad's sister. And Don and my dad went rabbit hunting all the time with beagles and things, and they hung around together all the time. So we were around bluegrass pretty much my whole life, and that's what inspired me to learn to play bluegrass was my Uncle Don. And I mean, I was already a fan of country music, but most of you have heard me say this, and I'm not saying it to be a name dropper. It's just the truth of it. My Uncle Don had a band in the 1950s, and it was called the Ozark Mountain Trio. It later merged or kind of evolved into Don Brown and the Ozark Mountain Trio. The original band included Don Brown, Norman Ford on guitar, and a real good high tenor singer, Norman Ford, and he was pretty well respected in bluegrass. And the other person was none other than John Hartford. Yes, the John Hartford. And John actually hand drew the very first album cover for the band. And I say album, it wasn't an album, it was an LP 45, which stands for Long Play 45. Prior to that, they weren't long play, I guess. But anyway, they had, I think they had 4 songs on that little 45. There were 2 on one side, 2 on the other, I think. And John drew the cover, and it was an old log cabin type setting and things. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Neat history. And I remember just as a kid then, as I was getting interested in that music, my Uncle Don did this a lot too, but it just didn't take. But I remember one night specifically, John Hartford had me on the couch there showing me guitar chords. He was, showing me the chords to a guitar, even though I really couldn't do it very well. And I was pretty young. Anyway, that's the name of that tune. It's a couple of scrolls up here as I was talking, so let me see what those are. I wish we could figure out what causes the interrupted words here with words laying over the top of other words. I have no idea what's causing that. Trying to find. Okay, Bill Dedrick, what top bracing on that guitar? X bracing? Yes, it's X bracing. Forward shifted? I don't know. I don't think it's forward shifted. I pretty much just built it on the Martin 12-string pattern, actually. I built that guitar is not a true dreadnought, if you will. It doesn't have the squared off shoulders. It has the rounded off shoulders, which was a Martin 12-string pattern at the time. And anyway, I just built it off of their standard, I think, actually, to be truthful, I think the plans actually came from Stuart McDonald. So it probably isn't even a true Martin pattern, but it's supposed to be. You know how that is. Spike Moto says, I am fingerstyle guitar player getting more into flat picking. What kind of picks do you like for flat picking? Well, I'm no expert in flat picking on the guitar, but on the mandolin, and I use the same thing as on guitar. I started out using, I used a bunch of different ones, but I kind of settled in on these purple Tortex picks. These are 1.14 millimeter, so they're a heavy pick. In any case, I always say use a reasonably heavy pick. Now, a lot of guys go crazy with that and go like 2 or 3 millimeters, and to me, that's just way too much. But the 1.14 still provides a little bit of flexibility, but yet it's stiff enough to really hammer down when you need to hammer down. So it's a good pick. So I like the Tortex 1.14. But my viewers, and I don't have one handy, I don't think. No, I don't. They're up at the house. I have 2 blue chip picks that the viewers sent me, 2 different viewers, and they both have my name on them, in fact. And I was so thankful to receive those. And I guard those like gold. Now, those are awesome picks, blue chip picks. And the reason they're awesome, they're the look and feel is kind of like a normal pick. Now, these are a tri-cornered pick, the ones that I have up there in the blue chip. I didn't like tri-cornered for a long time. I always liked this shape. But now that I got the tri-cornered and got them in the blue chip, I love the tri-cornered pick now. And they're about the same weight as this. Approximately, I didn't measure them, but they feel about the same. But the reason I really, really, really like the blue chip pick, and I mean, there's nothing else for me at this point. I mean, that's the only thing I use anymore, at least when I'm playing out, is because they don't wear. They don't wear at all. And I mean, not at all. If I play this pick here, and you can already see a little bit of wear on it. These are just picks just laying around the shop. I hardly ever use them, and you can already see some wear on the tip of that pick. If I use this 2 solid nights, like say at Dickey's, if I play, so in other words, about 4 hours worth of playing with this, that pick will be totally rounded off. I have played for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours, and all the shows at Dickey's, not to mention other shows and other things that we played out, you can't see any wear on those picks at all. 0, none, not any. You can look at them and there's just no wear. It's amazing. I love those picks. Those picks are awesome. So I'm sorry I don't remember which particular viewer sent those to me. I'm sorry, because you know me and names. But I really do want you to know I really appreciate them. Those are awesome picks. So now they're super expensive. And that's the other thing. That's the other side of the coin. For me personally, I would never have spent that kind of money to get one of those picks. Would never have done it. I would now. I would now. So there you go. I tell you when things are bad. I tell you when things are exceptionally good. And those are exceptionally good. I don't think anybody would be disappointed with it. Now, keep in mind, I assume that they sell them in different weights. I don't even know that. But these are the reasonably heavy pick. They're in the 1 millimeter range. 1.14 is what these purple ones are, and they feel about the same. So I've never measured the blue chip to know what the millimeter is on them. So you'd have to kind of investigate that. But in that particular size, and the tri-cornered pick is the one I'm using, they are excellent. And I don't think there's a pick out there that can compare to them. And that's just my opinion. And I have used a lot of different kinds of picks. In fact, I used to sell picks a lot. And, at one time I published a little catalog and had a big mailing list and shipped it out and sold all kinds of picks and things. It's just too much hassle for such a little profit. It just wasn't worth it. So I quit doing it. But so it's not like don't have any experience with picks. I used to sell a lot of picks and was very familiar with a lot of them. So anyway, there you go. That's the name of that tune. That's going to be about it for this morning. I'm going to get busy rearranging this mess and see if I can make it work for this evening. Don't miss this evening or you will be sorry. I promise you, you will be sorry if you miss this gal doing her live thing. Now, let me just tell you right up front, she's camera shy, she's mic shy, she's scared to death. But can she sing? Oh my gosh. We'll see you tonight.